Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me once again. Sports analyst and writer Jemele Hill. I hope I'm pronouncing her first name right. I'm not good with these names, I'll tell you. Essentially, she is a black woman, and she's accusing Caitlin Clark, the very prolific female basketball player, of only being popular and getting these deals because she's a straight white woman. Now, you knew that was coming, yeah. So we're going to get right into this article. I think I spoke on this some time ago and to some degree, but we're going to get right into this article. And I'm going to be reading a significant portion of information here because there are some cross references in this article that I'm going to be reading that I want you guys to listen in on so that we can get all the evidence that we need. And then I'm going to give you guys periodically my own opinion on women's sports. And yeah, I'm going to give you it's my opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion on women's sports when it comes to basketball and all of this. Let's get right into this article. This is common stuff now, common stuff. But anyway, Atlantic writer and ex-ESPN talker Jemele Hill is once again targeting WNBA star Caitlin Clark and insisting that Clark is only earning her fame because she is a straight white woman. Now, some of you that are reading this that may be a little conflicted with this, you may have felt the same way. That the only reason why she's getting this kind of publicity, getting these kind of offers, getting these kinds of deals and recognition is because she's white. Not the straight white concept nonsense. We're going to get into that later. But because she's white. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's crossed the minds of a lot of people. Let's go on. Clark came off a winning college basketball season and ended her college career by breaking a list of women's basketball records, not to mention doing her part to widely increase viewership on TV and in person for women's college basketball games. That's a good thing, at least for women's basketball, okay? She parlayed her college fame into a WNBA career after being signed by the Indiana Fever this season as the number one pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. On top of that, she earned herself a $28 million shoe deal with Nike. But proving the leftists really don't care about the achievements of women in general. Okay, remember, this is an article I'm reading. This is the editor's words, okay? But let me read it again. But proving that the leftists really don't care about the achievements of women in general, and they don't. Only minority or homosexual women who fit within the liberal ideal, I agree, they do. The left has spent every waking minute after the last year accusing Clark of any manner of violation of wokeness and dismissing her achievements as that of a privileged white girl, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because clearly, based on what I know about Caitlin Clark, the little bit I do know and the little bit I have read, clearly she has earned her take, she has earned her keep. But that doesn't mean anything to the left. But let's go on. Now, uber leftist and race grievance writer Jemele Hill is again chiming in and proclaiming that Clark is undeserving of her fame because she is merely a straight white girl. All these people disgust me. Like WNBA player AJ Wilson, Hill, who has blasted Clark before, was particularly incensed by the Nike shoe deal Clark received and accused the sports attire company of making sure that, quote, black women are often erased from the picture. And I just want to read a little something from A.J. Wilson here, who said something similar in the same line here. WNBA star, essentially, A.J. Wilson essentially says that race is a huge thing when it comes to Caitlin Clark's success. And let me read just a little bit of that. As a member of Iowa's women's basketball team, Clark set a long list of records and helped college basketball become one of the most watched sports on television in the final year. But now she is headed to the WNBA and the Indiana Fever. Her college fame brings great expectations and many new eyes to the Women's Pro Basketball League. Despite all of this achievement to date, Wilson is sure that Clark's popularity is because of racism. I think it's a huge thing, Wilson said, of the racism buoying Clark's success, according to the Associated Press. Now, just listen to what she has to say here. I think a lot of people may say it's not about black and white, but to me it is. And I have said that. I have said it's not about black and white, okay? And I'm going to give you my reason why I believe in the sports arena and in many areas it's not about black and white. It's about this. It's about skill set and it's about this. But anyway, it really is because you can be top notch at what you are as a black woman, but yet maybe that's something that people don't want to see. Wrong. I don't agree with that. But anyway, they don't see it as marketable. So it doesn't matter how hard I work, she exclaimed. It doesn't matter what we all do as black women. We're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is. Now, I have to, when it comes down to women's sports, we'll get into that, but particularly when it comes down to women's basketball, we'll get into that. But this is A.J. Wilson's argument on the whole situation. So she has something to say about Caitlin Clark's popularity and the offers and so forth as well. The article goes on to say, Hill told the LA Times that the main reason Clark gets so much media coverage is because of her, quote, race and her, quote, sexuality. We would all be very naive if we didn't say race and her sexuality played a role in her popularity, said Hill. While so many people are happy for Caitlin's success, including the players, this has been such an enormous impact on the game. This has had such an enormous impact on the game. There's a part of it that is a little problematic because of what it says about the worth and the marketability of the players who are already there. This is what she's saying now, okay? I want to read all of this because I want you to get what her basis is. Hill added that there's a silver lining in the undeserving Clark, though. Wow, undeserving, she said that, huh? Her media profile, Hill claims, will force the WNBA to up its diversity game. I always get that messed up. Hill went on to emphasize Clark's, quote, success in forcing accountability. The former ESPN host continued, quote, and I think that's a great thing. Now the WNBA has to evaluate everything they do. While it's shameful that they waited until they got the right player to start behaving in ways they could have been doing all along, the point is that her presence is going to force a level of accountability in the sport that wasn't always there. Now, those are her words. I'm going to read you the words of the editor, which brought out some very interesting factual data that I actually read the sources, and it's actually sourced. And the editor says this, it is unclear just what Hill thinks the WNBA needs to, quote, elevate. After all, 70.3% of WNBA players are already black. So if Ms. Hill is trying to say, well, they need to elevate their game and so forth. They need the WNBA needs to elevate their game. They need to bring more accountability and all this. If it's in reference to bringing in more blacks, if 70.3% is more than half of the players in the game. So how is it, unless they're saying, well, we don't want any white people in the game. Okay. We want them to be all blacks or all people of color. If that's the case, then that supports the argument that media analyst Mark Dice said in his book, War on Conservatives, where he made the argument that there is an attempt to destroy white people. He calls it anti-whiteism. So such a concept would support his argument. Because if 70.3% of WNBA players are already black, so what is Hill arguing about here? Let's go on. And another 80% are, quote, women of color. Another 11%, are, quote, women of color. On top of that, nearly 30% identify as gay, lesbian, or queer. I read that article. I read that source material. Okay. Yeah, 30% percent identify as gay, lesbian, or queer. That's a significant amount of the people there, okay? That's a significant amount of people within WNBA that identify as gay, lesbian, or queer. So what are you trying to really, what accountability, what evaluation or elevation is he trying to get at here? I don't see. These numbers are, the article goes on to say, these numbers are already wildly over the top of the national representatives of these groups. And that's the end of the article right there. Yeah, I wanted to read you guys a significant portion of that information and those sources because I wanted you to get all the information that I possibly give. But once again, look, I'm going to be frank with you, as frank as possible. And I'm not perfect. When I heard of Caitlin Clark, okay, this. I mean, I ain't never heard of, I don't watch women's basketball. I don't watch men's basketball. So, but, obviously, she's all over the place. So when I heard about this and I saw that she's a white woman and so forth, that preconditioning came back to mind. It's like, wow, she's getting all of this. She's on the fame. And I thought to myself, man, is this because she's white? That came back to my mind because there was a black woman, I think it was AJ Wilson or another woman. Or AJ Wilson, I believe she is black. Yeah, she is black. Forgive me for that. I was comparing. I was like, man, is they doing this because she's white? Because I'm pretty sure that there's some that does happen. But as I thought about it even further and went a little deeper into it, I said, wait a minute, hold it. I started reading about Caitlin Clark's statistical achievements and so forth, and I was like, And at the end of the day, it's all about what you put out there, your skill levels, and your ability to bring in money. How many times we have to say that? Now, this woman here, Wilson, says that Hill said that it's about race and about her her being a straight white female. That right there makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's clear that the $28 million deal that she's getting is going to bring for the Nike deal is clearly going to bring twice as much income back to Nike as they dished out to her. They're not going to give a $28 million deal to someone, male or female, that's not going to bring them money back. That's too much of a risk. When we're talking about capitalism, pure capitalism, the bottom line is money. So if they're saying we're going to give you, why would they want to, come on, man, let's be reasonable. Why would Nike say, we want to give her a $28 million deal because she's white and she's a straight white woman. She's not gay and she's white. So we're going to give her a $28 million deal. Why would you take such a risk based on race and gender like that, risking your own profit margin? That makes no sense whatsoever. Now, the left does stupid things like that, like Disney, and I'll prove to you why they do stupid things like that. Walt Disney right now, the Disney company, okay? They're investing millions and millions and millions of dollars in pushing woke agendas in cartoons and movies. These movies fail at the box office time and time and time again. Do they not? Yes, they do. And yet, what does Disney do? They completely ignore the reality of the fact that they're losing tons of money, and they continue to push wokeness and nastiness. Only the left would do that. Only they would risk their bottom line to push rhetoric, to push an agenda. Real capitalists don't do that. Real capitalists are looking at the money. And real capitalists, which is Nike, is saying, look, hey, we're going to give you a $28 million deal because we know folk they're going to be watching you, male and female. They're going to be watching you. They're going to be watching your skill set. They're going to watch what you're bringing in. Hey, we know we're going to get twice as much as that back. I'm just saying, okay? Yeah, so I don't think it has nothing to do with the fact that she's white and she's straight. I mean, come on now. They're looking at the money. They're looking at the money and the popularity, okay? Now, as far as, I wanted to say something about my own opinion about women's sports. Look, and this is kind of diverging a little bit off of the subject matter, but it's still kind of on the subject matter. And we all know that the WNBA does not get a lot of views. This is what I've been reading about. This is what I've been hearing. Look, I told you guys, I don't watch the WNBA, and I don't watch the NBA on it, okay? So I couldn't really say anything about it. I've seen clips of Caitlin Clark. I've seen clips of AJ Wilson. I've seen how good they can hoop and all, put the ball in the basket, all that other kind of stuff. I've seen clips of it, but I didn't watch it in length. And let me tell you why. My personal thing is, I do not like to see women in sports. I just don't. I don't like seeing women basketball players, and I don't like seeing women boxers. Good as they may be in their field, I don't like seeing it. They look too mannish to me, okay? That's just the kind of man I am. You can call me sexist all day. But at the end of the day, men are different and women are different. And I like to see, maybe in the sports of tennis, In tennis, that's different because you look like a female, okay? But when you looking like a man and women basketball, it just for me personally, I don't like it. It just, you look like a man, you look like a stud or something, and I just don't like that. Even in women's, even in boxing, it's the same thing. What's that boxer's name? The black boxer's name? I forget her name. Who's now trying to challenge male boxers? Here we go with this nonsense again. I forget her name. Gosh. Yeah, that's it. Clarissa Field. Jesus Christ, man. Who's now trying to fight men now. Okay, men boxers now. She's good. She's excellent. And I've seen her box. Okay. And she's excellent in what she does. But it's just not something that I want to see. It's just too managed for me. Okay. Now, I think it was A.J. Wilson that I read to you guys a little bit about. We talked about how that black women, black sports figures, no matter how hard they try, or black women, no matter how hard they try, they're not going to get the same recognition. They're not going to get the same money, offers, and deals. I don't agree with that. Maybe perhaps in women's sports, because women's sports is different. Okay? It's different. It's just different. You built different, and you don't look. You're built different. Okay, it's just not the same. You may argue that with women tennis because that you could argue with that with women tennis because at least they're wearing something that looks female. I know that sounds sexy, but y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all, hopefully, you guys understand my point of view. I'm trying to be as sensitive about this as I possibly can. Yeah. In women's sports, yes. You could argue in women's sports, okay? Because there's a lot of variables that go with that. You have to have the goods to bring in the money. In women's sports, usually they don't have that, except a few, And even then, it's still a struggle because a lot of men don't want to watch that. A lot of straight men, white, black, Hispanic, doesn't matter, do not want to watch women's sports like that. They just don't. Not in the field of boxing and basketball. They just don't. But to make the argument that A.J. Wilson said about black women in general not getting any recognition, not getting the marketability, it's being marketed, that's a bunch of nonsense. When I think about people like Whoopi Goldberg in the 80s, very popular. She was huge in the 80s. Oprah Winfrey, Janet Jackson, come on, man. I mean, they were not in sports, but they were black women. The last I checked, they were black women. I mean, I could be wrong. They could be vanilla ice. I don't know. And it's covering they guys got brown skin. I don't know. Look, but the last I checked, they look like they black women. Okay, Oprah Winfrey, she's black. Whoopi Goldberg, black. You know what I'm saying? Janet Jackson was huge. In fact, Janet Jackson got to the point at some point in her career where she became so popular, she almost overcame Michael Jackson, her brother, at one point. She became very popular. I mean, can we say Beyonce? I mean, come on, man. Even though I'm not crazy about Beyonce, the point is she's extremely popular, and she's a black woman. And any deals that's made with these black women is going to be lucrative deals because they know they're going to get back more than half of what they're going to get back, double rather than what they invested in these black female celebrities. Okay. So the whole argument, that's just not true. But this whole thing with Caitlin Clark and the deals that she's getting, I believe is based on profit. Is based on profit, not merely marketability like A.J. Wilson was arguing and Ms. Hill argued. It's mostly based on profit margin. And a market, the marketability, you can market someone to death. If the people do not want to see them or buy their tickets, they will not buy them. I made that argument with the black actress, Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P. Henson, she's okay. She's okay as an actor, but she's not all that great. She's not all that great. I watched clips of a movie that she made some years ago called A Proud Mary. Oh, man, come on. Yeah, I'm like, this is average, to say the least, in terms of her acting ability. The best acting she gave was in the movie Baby Boy. And she was not at her most popular at that point. But that was the best acting she ever gave. But when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I want to see more movies with Taraji P. Henson. Ooh, she's just a great, the movie was excellent. I love the movie. If you didn't see it, you need to see it, okay? But, yeah, it wasn't like, she was all that in a bag of chips. But she made the argument that she should have been. But she wasn't because she was black. No, you're not bringing in the goods. You don't have the talent, unfortunately. The talent is not there to bolster your viewership and to bolster people's desire to buy the tickets for you to make the money. It is what it is. You can be black, you can be white. You have, like I said, black women that are hugely marketable. Okay? I already mentioned them to you. I mean, at one point, what was her name? Halle Berry. She became rather popular during, I believe, the 90s and the early 2000s, mid-2000s. She became pretty popular after she made the movie The Monster Ball. She won an Academy Award for that. And people have argued about that. I used to argue, man, I didn't like the fact that she was, she was having a nasty. I just didn't like the fact. And I still don't like it. But regardless of whether or not I liked it or not, it made her popular. And she got a lot of movie deals after that. So when the movie came out with Halle Berry's name on it, people wanted to see it, mainly because of Halle Berry, because she's a great actor. Okay, so you can argue that all day, but there are a lot of them that are out there that's producing the goods. And this whole situation with Caitlin Clark, it's, I believe, money, not because he's a straight white female. That's a bunch of nonsense. When you put out the goods, people, whether you male or female, white or black, people are going to want to see you. They're going to want to hear you. So that's what I had to say about that. I had to make a critique on that because it's ridiculous how these people get out here keep saying that. They just don't get it. They just don't get it. These black mouthpieces just don't get it. It's about the bottom line. It's not all race, okay? Those days are done and over with. It's about the bottom line. It's about the money. You bring in the money, I'll give you the money. You don't bring in the money, I'm not giving you nothing. I'll give you a couple of pennies, but you got to bring in the money. You got to bring in the goods. You got to show me what you got. What kind of fool am I to invest millions of dollars into you simply because I want to be fair and equitable? I'm risking millions of dollars. I'm risking going out of business because I want to be fair and equitable. That's stupid. That's not business sense. These people have business sense. Nike has business sense. The producers of these movies have business sense. Something that a lot of these liberals don't have. Yeah, I'm getting on them because they're the ones that's pushing this stuff. Hill is liberal. She's pushing that nonsense, not realizing that money don't grow on trees, boo-boo. You got to give a little to get back some. To get back some, you got to give a little. It is what it is. But that's what I had to say about it. What do you guys think about it? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.